Is it possible to remain hopeful when your marriage is hurting? Well, according to God, marriage is a picture of his relationship with us. Jesus took on flesh, the hope of Advent, lived among us, and experienced what it was like to live in our world. However, when we least desired or expected it, Jesus submitted to the Father's perfect salvation plan and chose to die a brutal Roman death on a cross for your sin and mine. But the story doesn't end there. 3 days later, he broke through death by resurrecting from the dead. There's our hope. Jesus taught us the true meaning of submission in this act, and his disciples showed us the difficulty of waiting because they didn't understand. You know, when we struggle in our marriage, and we will because we're human, we have an opportunity to exemplify Christ to the other person in the marriage. And it's not always easy, especially when you've been deeply hurt. As the first week of Advent approaches, I choose to focus on hope. And you can make that choice too. You know, your husband may have made a choice you couldn't control, but what you choose now is completely within your control. Whether it's the Advent season or any other time of year, you can choose hope. Hope not only in what Jesus did when he came the first time, but also hope that he will come again and set the world right. This week, families around the world celebrate by lighting the first purple candle of the Advent wreath to remember the fulfilled promise and the soon-to-be-fulfilled promise of Jesus. The words of the old Christmas carol, O come, Emmanuel, echo the concept of waiting with hope. The first stanza points back to Israel's captivity and their hope of a soon return from exile. With its minor key melody, we resonate with Israel's pain of waiting. It says, O come, Emmanuel, to free your captive Israel, that mourns in lonely exile here until the Son of God appear. The last stanza points us to a future heavenly home, a place of safety where misery cannot reside. It is a place where God in his majesty and love exists for all eternity. We cry out with humans from the beginning of time for God to fulfill this hope. It says, O come, O King of nations, bind in one the hearts of all mankind. Bid all our sad divisions cease, and be yourself our King of peace. Peace in our hearts, peace in our homes, peace that brings hope. But hope doesn't equal loss of pain, even though we want it to. Our hope, grounded in Jesus, gives us a new perspective about our current circumstances, purpose, an offer of peace, security in unsure times, somewhere reliable to turn, assurance of a future in Jesus' care. When there's discord in your marriage, you experience waiting, a heart-wrenching time when you pursue God for answers to this pain. In fact, you may wonder, what can I do to fix my marriage? What have I done wrong? Why can't my spouse understand how this behavior deeply wounds me? What will others think? Is there any hope for reconciliation? How is this affecting the kids? Will this destructive behavior continue? And if it does, what do I do? Will my marriage be this way forever? Why can't I be cherished for who I am? Do we really have to celebrate Christmas this year? Is there any hope? Yes, God says there is always hope in Jesus. He is our hope. In Ephesians 5, we see a picture of God's view of marriage. And this passage, which is often misinterpreted and used to browbeat women to submit their husbands, begins with this. Be very careful then how you live not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. Do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery. Instead, be filled with the Spirit, speaking to one another with psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit. Sing and make music from your heart to the Lord, always giving thanks to God the Father for everything, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. What follows then as admonitions to the husbands and the wives. Think about this for a moment. Perhaps you've seen her. She grips a coffee cup in her hand while staring out the window as the coffee grows cold. Oblivious to you and others, her haunted eyes prick her soul. You can't help staring while her transparent pain pushes you away. Though you don't want to intrude on a stranger, you continue to steal quick glances. Or maybe you've passed her at the dog park. Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes. You exchange brief greetings as your dogs sniff each other and check each other out. But as she walks past, you can't help wondering about her story. Do you see her? Are you her? Pain in the midst of songs of joy, sparkling lights, carols and cookies, happy couples and well-behaved children and matching jammies. You've seen the pictures. Pain stuck in the mire of waiting. The store shelves bulge with gifts waiting to be bought. Advent candles at church dance in the darkness as bright symbols of waiting, and hope. The first week of Advent represents hope, and hope includes waiting. But what are you waiting for? A child? Of course they're waiting for Christmas Day to open those packages. If you're in a military family, waiting for your deployed loved one to return home safely. Suffering from an illness, waiting for an accurate diagnosis or for the treatment to be effective. Parent of a faraway child, waiting to hear from them or see them. A wounded wife, waiting for the pain to vanish, for hope to return. So this first week of Advent, where do you need to focus on hope in your marriage? Hope that remembers the good and looks forward to the better. I encourage you to ask Emmanuel, God with us, to come into your marriage and do his redemptive work. Would you pray this with me today? Jesus, you are my hope. You provide peace and answers in the midst of pain and chaos. You tell me to come near and hold unswervingly to hope because you are faithful. Thank you for your faithfulness. Teach me to hope in you, even though life feels tough at the moment. Help me remember the good and seek the better. If you need more resources to navigate this season, please check out my website, KirstenDSamuel.com. That's KIRSTEN, D as in Diane, Samuel.com. There are several resources there that I hope will encourage you. If you need something more, you need someone to talk to, go ahead and click that free consultation button on the upper right hand of that web page. You have a choice today. Focus on hope. Until next time.